Whispering Chicken presents. Bok, bok. I'm not just trying different things. This is an unexpected fake fiction, Clumsy Hippo's fake fiction, because, well, of things. So, let's play today's abridged version of the theme, and I'll try to collect my thoughts. Okay, so what has come up? What hasn't come up? Well, a lot of things really, but I'm testing out a couple of things because being in the closet so long after I can even remember having been in it the first time, there's not ventilation really in here. I'm thinking, get a little fan maybe, that might be okay, but I'm in Atlanta and it does get quite warm in the summer. Quite warm. And humid too. So, it's a cliche, but it's true. It isn't the heat, it's the humidity. I swear, it's true. They're not lying. So a friend of mine sent me more than once some soda type, sodas and other things like that. I can't remember what all there was, but he had gotten some packing that needed refrigerated packing. So they're like those, sleeves, little kind of like a thick plastic sleeve that's got this gel in it that freezes hard and then gets down to a jelly kind of consistency. So I thought, well, small space. If I put a few of those around me, I might just, be able to have some cool weather in here while I'm at it as I ash in my coffee. All right. Well, now this is a big week, of course, because now this is an extra episode, not to take the place of what's coming tomorrow, because that's done. That's a done deal. Well, it's not a done deal yet, but it's about to be a done deal. The recording of it was a done deal, and that's what this is. Kind of more towards is I've got my WordPress blog set up now for the audios. God, yes, I am spreading myself very thin, and it is kind of odd and weird to be reaching out as much as I can, but that's why I cut off social media and stuff, because I don't have time for everything. So this is I don't understand how I got so many hits and views and likes and followers on the WordPress blog as I was working on it. I started changing the theme. People started liking it. I think I did post one thing, some tags in there just to get some traffic. And good people looking like it. It's I saw some good blogs I started following. I haven't gone through the whole list yet though. So if anybody's listening and thinks I'm overlooking, you don't, because I'm just doing everything at one time. And I do everything. I do absolutely everything. Doing my theme songs. I'm get to what's coming in a minute. But I wanted the new people from the blog, because I'm going to post this. This is kind of like an introduction on my blog for the podcast, Clumsy Hippo Studios, or Studio. I keep doing that. And I am assuming, probably, since I have not included any information about the podcast, don't know. Unless, Clumsy Hippo, that's right, they could look it up, but how would they know to look it up? So this is going to be a good introduction to them to what I'm going to be doing on Mondays. Yesterday. Sorry, I did one yesterday. On Mondays, this is Clumsy Hippo's fake fiction. And it's okay. I decided to do a podception, 3 pods, my little triad going on. But they definitely link together, and I call it podception because this is the behind the scenes for my writing, the fiction that is to come later in the week, and behind the scenes of what inspired me or gave me ideas or my process and things like that. All sorts of about the studio, anything about it, because on the actual fiction podcast, it will be just me reading it, and I've come up with something interesting, I think, for what I've got on alternating Wednesdays. Wednesdays and Fridays are going to alternate. Now, I'm saying this also because now this is starting. This is this week happening. So we're kind of reviewing here, as well as revealing to all the new people. I've made it sound like so many people. So, okay, Wednesdays and Fridays are going to alternate. Now, these are the days I'm doing, my fiction that I write. I write a lot of fiction. I've got a lot of fiction, and I don't know. I like playing with different genres. I like mixing some. I like having, doing light versions of genres, but I just basically like, doing whatever comes up in my head, and that's usually very, very interesting and a whole lot of strange. I can't do normal. Just can't. I try, and I'll be in the middle of a sentence, and then suddenly, boom, she ends up, oh, I think she's going to have a wooden leg. I do that all the time. And sometimes I do it just to play with myself to see if I can figure out how to work it in the future. Now, that happens a lot with every other Wednesday. Now, this is the one that's already begun, 2 episodes, and tomorrow, the 3rd episode will be posted. And that is, again, and for the new people, this is the 3rd story episode of the 3-story arc that I used to begin or to introduce the stories, as if they're already existing. If you like looking at letters arranged differently, then you can look at my blog, SheridanDelo.com, and you'll see this, what's posting now and what's going to post and get a head start. But there's more too that I haven't. I kind of neglected that one for a while, and now I'm going to be able to integrate it with this. I'm going to just ash my coffee and so, the every other Wednesday is called Days of General Restlessness, and this is just silly fun. It's just insanity. It's crazy. It's my mock soap opera. You get everything. Mistaken identities, twins swapping places, kidnappings, betrayal, murder, sex, all sorts of things. Just crazy. But see, I can't do anything normal. We also have odd things that they seem to think are normal, like the 20-year-old woman who is a clone, and something went wrong in the lab, so she grew as a baby. She's 5'9", toddler, fat rolls on her arms and everything. She drools when she talks and stuff. So it's like size 22 Oshkosh overalls. It's a mixture. While she's speaking as a maturing young woman of 20, her other hand will randomly start shaking these plastic keys. It's just lots of that kind of stuff too in this one. This is kind of where I was able to really let loose without constraints, because it's very tongue in cheek. So I'm not taking it as seriously as I do a lot of my other stories. I mean, I take it seriously. I love it, but that's what that is, and it's ongoing. So every other week there'll be an episode, and there's no end in sight. I have no end in sight at all. I have plans, because I like to do a lot of things as it's like seasons, if you will. I used to call them that with stories. I guess now they can really be a season. But so yeah, it'll be ongoing, and crazy things will happen, and it'll never resolve. But things will resolve. But you get answers to some things, but some things will just remain a mystery until maybe one day in a couple of years. Who knows? But if you want to go to SheridanDelo.com and take a look at the introduction or kind of a trailer, or I've got the trailer on here too, I've got the trailer here too. That'll kind of give you an idea more of that. Now, the alternating Fridays, but I'm going to probably start this Friday, and then since I did a kind of a bonus with the 3 episodes, I will go ahead and do. It's I'm thinking most likely going to be split into two parts. This is where I'm going to do my fictional stories and split them up in serials, but then, move on to the next story afterwards. And I'm starting with Slumber Guard, which is, just briefly put, is somebody who wakes up and is, as they're trying to regain their memory, they're having to also deal with the fact that while they still don't know how or why, they ended up in a prototype for a conveyance of taking humans to Mars and travel without extra aging or dying or something. So while he's again regaining his memory, is coming back trying to remember what in the world happened and how he ended up where he was. He's got to deal with the fact that where he is where he slept until, which is a million years. And if you listen to one of the other podcasts, I talk about that, how I look into science, but I also mix, I sometimes stretch it, but a lot of things do. You can't really complain. It's called fiction. So Slumber Guard, I'm probably going to, and then after the first one, like I said, there's Slumber Guard has 4 parts to it. It's a longer tale, but when each one, but then I usually write. But when I finished the first one, I was thinking, I could write another one. Somebody else could go in the future. Maybe, meet up with them or something. But, and then a friend of mine was like, are you going to do more? And so I was like, oh, yeah, I guess so. And then by the middle of the second one, I realized it was going to be 3. And by the time I got to the end of the second one, I realized it was going to be 4. But you can call them quadrilogies. I'll always call them tetralogies. And then, I've got some that are like that, 4 stories, telling the saga. And then I have others like The Charming Deviltries, which is kind of loosely based on my husband and myself. And I read an article that said there really wasn't a lot of, good, gay fiction, not your, Harlequin version of, gay fiction or, something like that, but, or, young adult stuff. But, actually like, picking up any other book. And I'm going blank. It's like, how many books are there in the world? And I can't think of fucking one. Okay, so To Kill a Mockingbird. I've just thrown it out there. Okay, since that's been in the news recently, I love it. First adult book I read, and it's a really beautiful story, and it actually taught me. I mean, I don't know why people. I think it got swept up in everybody getting all up in arms because I'm all for that too, but I'm also fearful of erasing history so that it becomes cyclical and people get back to bad. But we just always have to figure it out together. And but To Kill a Mockingbird taught me a lot as a young man about how it was to be colored. Didn't reach far enough, or I reached too far back for a word. African American in this country at that time. Doctor Who did a really good job this past season with the episode Rosa, where they meet Rosa Parks, and I'm so glad that it was got a good reception because it was beautifully done. And I love that actress, and I recognized Rosa from somewhere. She's been in Doctor Who before. Okay. Now, so there'll be the other stories, because I've got my Witch of Nothing stories. Those are more in your fantasy magic type thing, but it's very different kind of magic. I just kind of like to come up with my own things, and that way, if I have to use or borrow something, then it kind of gets lost in the mix, and not like, gosh, all of his ideas were stolen. So one of those will be coming up. A Witch of Nothing story will come up, and then most of these will probably be 2 to 3 parts. That's what I'm guessing. The Slumber Guard type stories might be 3 parts, but I've got another 4-story saga will be Wrong Face, which will be my version. And when I delve into, I hope you can't hear me run up in my hands. urban legends, myths, and things like that. Because Wrong Face is going to be my version of Bigfoot. Oh, and thank God I've got that all outlined because of the break I had with the surgery and everything. Now, what else do I have? There's Xanadu Supernova. That's very science fiction. Charming Deviltries are, okay, I would dream and just never assume that I would ever rise to this level. But if I had to describe Charming Deviltries, it would be a gay version of Heart to Heart written by Dean Koontz. But it tackles a lot with a dash of Doctor Who in there. I can't help myself. It's each story, as they progress, first meet in the first story, loosely on myself and my partner. They meet in the first story, and then they decide to be a couple and get together and meet the parents and all that sort of stuff, and different stories where he goes to work and reconnecting with old friends and stuff. Now, and all this time there's ghosts, there's some types of unknown demons under the ground. There's, let's see, parallel universes. There's a drag queen mafia. A lot of parallel universe use, which I didn't expect. But one of the stories I wrote in like a version of, say your medieval Arthur type story, but it's the same, two characters, meeting kind of differently, and what happens with them may or may not impact a story later on having to do with the regular, the real couple, the real fake couple. Okay, there's those coming. There's some, I've got some individual stories that I'm gonna hopefully get on there quickly too, like Burners and Deciding Day. Those I wrote recently, and I really, really enjoyed writing them. Neither one of them was very long. It was very, good Lord, almost normal, but then it's not. But that's the way I do, and so you can look forward to lots of that starting this week, starting tomorrow go back and listen to episodes 1 and 2 of Days of General Restlessness, and the trailer and everything else. Absolutely all the audios you can listen to. Just feel free. I am putting them out there for free. I'm not asking for money or sponsors or anything like that, even though I'm doing it all by myself. Support from my husband, of course. And so, it's like, just feel free. Drink it in. I'm tired of holding it back, trying to perfect it with editors, and it just, sits there with 6 people having read the stories. Well, with podcasts now, I have a new way to revive them and link them together so that, hey, you might feel like reading it, or you may feel, after you listen to it or something like that. So they will be unedited, though. I'm not editing. Well, as far as censoring, that's it. I'm not censoring anything from the stories. There's a whole fucking lot of less cussing than I do in real life. I don't really do sex. I don't feel it's necessary. I feel I can talk about it, or it having happened, without having to go through that process, because it's just superfluous to the story. It really is. It's not. If it had the nudity thing, like they say, if it's integral to the plot. But I cannot see myself getting graphic in any way. Maybe I reference it sometimes in humorous ways, of course, but there's another story to be told, and that's not it. But there's, a lot of hijinks, and some have more cussing than others. The Witch of Nothing is like completely G-rated, and Charming Deviltries, I would say PG-13. Anyway, I'm not going to go through them all. Check it out. Okay, again, Sheridan D. Lowe, and now SheridanDLowe.com for the written, and ClumsyHippo.com now, just freshly today, ClumsyHippo.com for the audios. And actually, that's where you're at right now listening. Oh, no, you might not be. I forgot. It goes everywhere else, too. So, enjoy. And I hope you'll, be hanging out for a long time with me and listening to my crazy stories, because now you're finally going to hear them. I've been talking about them. I've been talking a lot about them. Hell, I've been talking about them for years. And now, finally, in one way or another, I'm going to make you hear me. So, okay, now, time for the after show. Bit of shush, please.